we'd like to introduce the session, Millennial Customers and Employees, How to Engage Them with Your Brand, presented by Loyalty Plant, Inc. Today, our moderator is Jim Steinberg. Jim is the Director of Enterprise Partnerships at Loyalty Plant, Inc. He loves to leverage his vast experience in pairing leading brands with the winning mobile and digital initiatives to head the enterprise partnership team at Loyalty Plant, Inc. Jim is passionate about transforming the face of mobile marketing for restaurant chains using the disruptive force of the Loyalty Plant platform. Welcome, Jim.
Terrific. Hey, welcome to our Millennial session. Thank you for the introduction. I should say I am passionate, and our firm is passionate about building winning app solutions for restaurant clients. But my real street cred with millennials also comes from the fact that I'm CIO of my family. I've got 2 millennials, and I'm running a multi-platform stage right now. And it's kind of an honorary title, but I do have to rubber stamp all the budget approvals. But honestly, on the app side, we have done 580 app projects over the last 6 years. We work with major clients like KFC, Burger King, Pizza Hut, Hooters, and many others, and many smaller clients as well. The great thing about the mobile technology today is you're able to leverage all of the tools and solutions that a major client like a BK or a KFC uses for our work. And I'm really thrilled that for this session, I've got 2 millennial entrepreneurs who are really at the forefront of some of the growth that we're seeing in our industry right now. I'm not going to steal their thunder, but PK, as co-founder of Balance Grill, came to the restaurant industry having had a career as a technologist before. And we can get into it here. He's done 3 generations of apps and has seen the successive improvement and progress and can talk about what millennials are really expecting in apps. And Chris, of course, is a managing partner at Get Fried, another great new format. We'll talk a little bit about where that growth is coming from with restaurant formats like Get Fried that don't quite fit in any conventional schema. Yesterday at the Technomics session, it was pretty clear that guys like the ones to my side here are really responsible for the growth in our industry. And the millennial target, of which I'm going to talk just a little bit and give you a little bit of background, is really key to that. So just a quick rundown of the agenda. Essentially, I am going to give you just a little background on millennials. I'm going to talk, let PK talk Balance Grill, Chris talk Get Fried, and then we're going to get into the meat of it, a panel discussion around millennial topics. And we want to keep this interactive. We're doing a little pioneering here. We're going to do a poll. So can I just find out how many in the audience have the Winsight app for RLC open? Okay. So I'll give you some instructions. We'd love to get your input about where you want that discussion to go. So I'll show you a couple of topics and how to do that. And then we're going to open it up for Q&A. So a couple words about millennials. Essentially, millennials is a term that came from a book that was published in the early 90s, which was all about generations. And the guys who wrote the book honestly didn't think it was going to stick. They had like no interest in the concept when they did it. If you look at the Google search history, it's not until 2013 that suddenly millennials are really spike and have become one of the prime searches within Google for marketing topics. Why is that? Well, a lot of talk of generational changes. There are over 75 million millennials in the US. No clear definition about exactly what years go into millennials, but generally thought that starts somewhere between 1981 and 1997, and the definition's been extended to 2002 just recently by the mainstream press. They've got 170 billion in a year in purchasing power, and if you extend to 2002, they are the dominant group at this point, demographically. What's really important about them for restaurants is they are digital natives. They have increased use of communication, media, and digital technologies, and their expectations are that you deliver an experience comparable to the brands that they're used to growing up with. Why is that important to you? Well, a couple of quick reasons. One is they're really willing to give you feedback. It's all about a two-way dialogue. They're not expecting to be broadcast to. They want to be able to communicate. And these guys can talk about how that brings your brand to the next level. The second reason is they really appreciate the value that you provide with them, and they'll pay you back for it. They are brand loyalists and advocates. And in the business we're in, we have seen dramatic payback for restaurants that are using apps. Converting a light user, an occasional user, to a medium or heavy user generally gives you about a 7% sales increase on average the first year for the clients that have released that data to us. You'll probably get another 5% financial lift based on promotional success, and that will further fuel the building of medium and heavy user segments. And those loyalists become advocates. They become folks who will go out and communicate to their friends based on their love of your brand combined with some incentive. That will lead to further app installs and probably for millennials in particular, one of your best channels for new customer acquisition. They can be reached by a lot of digital channels. I would say the app is by far your best because you've got 100% share of mind with them when they're in it. They'll drive, as I say, your business by sharing recommendations, and they're really going to impact your brand strategy. They expect continuous innovation. The days of periodic releases of anything are gone. You wake up in the morning and your favorite apps have further refined themselves to take advantage of user expectations. And just to kind of put that in context, think about the brands that millennials have grown up with. Facebook is the ultimate user of personalized, relevant information. So, millennials are looking for a news stream from you of what's really going to be compelling for them. Uber has taken all the friction out of the transportation experience. You order, you see exactly where you are, you get in, you're gone. No payment at the other end, all taken care of. Amazon, taking over retail, mainly because of their ability to provide a highly personalized user experience. And Starbucks, of course, getting 20% of their volume through the mobile app right now. So just huge. So with that said, and that brief introduction, over to PK to talk about Balanced Grill.
Hi, my name is Prakash, but you're welcome to refer to me as PK. I'm really thankful for this opportunity to share this brand that I built with you guys here today at the RLC. Back in 2010, I started a fast casual Asian fusion restaurant concept that we've now built into a chain over the last 7 years with a college friend of mine. We serve snacks, buildable bowls, seasonal specials like Asian tacos, and a drink product called bubble tea. We focus heavily on customer experience. We focus heavily on technology. We use digital menu boards, iPad-based point-of-sale systems, future forecasted inventory, so we cut fresh vegetables every single day according to what's necessary. Obviously, mobile apps for customers. And we really take a focus on the environment because we are heavily takeout focused. We do about a 70% takeout rate, but when customers are in the store, that's what builds the value for what they're getting for takeout. So while takeout is highly profitable, we really want to focus on that environment. And it comes back down to music, nice lighting, lots of windows, things like that. So it kind of builds back in and matches the brand to the food. So there's a lot I could keep telling you about Balance, but I think I'd rather share it with you. Like Jim mentioned, I was born in 1984. My business partner was born in 1983. We have about 150 employees, all of which are millennials, and our primary customer base is
Side is our food trucks and our mobile units in New York City, which are stationary. Top one obviously drives around, goes to where the people are. Top right is our inline store, which will be found in malls, airports, and sports venues. And then lower right is our kiosk. And we're actually introducing a brick and mortar concept that will serve self-service beer. Again, it's a techie type. I'm sure you guys are familiar with the self-service beer systems. They're really exciting. And those types of aspects, again, will draw the millennials to our stores. And in a brick and mortar, they can actually have an experience where they can sit down and hang out in our stores. So that's Get Fried, and I'll turn it back over to Jim.
I'll just start the discussion a little bit. One of the areas that we talked about initially was, are there segments of millennials? As I did some research, it became kind of clear to me that some people view the earlier generation of millennials as those who grew up with PCs and gaming stations, and the next generation, those who grew up with tablets, smartphones, and apps. What do you guys think? Is that actionable for your business? Is it right? Does it matter? Is it true? Any of those?
I think absolutely. I think the early to mid 80s demographic of millennials, we see a lot less contribution towards our social media campaigns, whereas the later years of millennials are the ones that are continually commenting, giving us great ideas. We run a Name Your Basket campaign where we ask our customers to introduce a top fry basket that they think would be a good fit for our menu. And I'd say, again, the engagement there is probably 95% of millennials that are from late 80s to early 90s. And some of their recommendations are what would probably make all of us sick, but nonetheless, they come up with some really good innovative ideas for our menu additions.
I've personally seen a difference, just as Chris said, and as Jim said, in a generation that is, I think both generations, both ends of the spectrum of millennials are very visually focused. They respond well to video and photos, and a lot of that does come back to growing up with TV sets and video games and things like that. But as far as interacting on social media, I would agree with Chris again. The people who like a post is a lot different than those who actively get in and comment on posts. And that's definitely the generation that grew up with smartphones and tablets and mobile apps, and they're used to that level of community and interactivity.
So, guys, can you talk a little bit about employees and how you view them versus your customers, how you work with them, etc.?
So employees are the start of our marketing campaign. So it's really important. Our millennial employees are used to a gamified experience in every aspect of their life. They're used to growing up with mobile games in their phones. So the way that we've structured our operations is, and I'm going to try and keep this short, but it's a little bit complicated and a little bit non-traditional. There's two avenues for growth. Everybody who gets hired in has a single position. It's a brand advocate, and that's how we've built our street teams. So in 7 years, we spent less than $8,000 on marketing and advertising. Everything is done through social media. We do our own in-house content production. That includes like the video that you just saw. We just rent video cameras and we actually produce that in-house. But you can, as you come in and you're a brand advocate, your goal there is to be our street marketing team. And so every single one of our employees does that, and that is a key component of engaging with our millennial customers. After that, they learn the 4 different positions and they can stack those as kind of badges. So it becomes a game. That's lateral growth, and that's one way to earn hours and additional wage. And then we offer the ability to gain responsibility, which is the traditional mechanism for advancing within a company's culture. So we offer 2 different mechanisms because millennial employees, especially, some of them are there because it's a gig and they're there for the experience, and some of them are there because it's a career for them and they want to be within the brand for a long period of time, and so they typically choose the vertical growth model, and through that they go through a shift leader, a store manager, and then eventually a training manager, and work their way up. So we offer them multiple different ways to go, and they kind of, like I said, it's kind of a game. So.
Yeah, I would agree. I think you have to incentivize them. We struggled for a while with having our millennial employees get on the front line, and the only thing in their head was to get this basket in front of the customer as quickly as possible, with no thought and going into the preparation and look and feel of the basket. As you can imagine, with top French fries, it's pretty easy to make it look like a pile of mush. So we have to put a lot of effort into training and making them understand that those customers are it's equally as important to make that basket almost a piece of art and make it look as good as it's going to taste. Otherwise, you're going to lose their attention and turn them off. And through training and a lot of hands-on work with our millennial employees, we've actually transitioned our staff to engage with the customer and have fun with them and recommend what they like. So we have our staff try the whole menu, and we want them to pick a basket that's their favorite, because with a new concept, with a new space that we're in, fries. For them, everybody loves free stuff, especially millennials. Then now they have the app, so now we control getting in front of them and reminding them that Get Fried is an option. It's their birthday, they get a push notification that, happy birthday, John, come in for a free basket of fries on Get Fried. Now John's feels welcome to the brand. He's sending this to 15 of his friends. And at the same time, there's a point system. So every time a customer comes to the counter, they're getting points. As we know, millennials love digital competition. So you can imagine a kid in a high school or college, with his friends, and we've already seen this. We implemented the app about a month ago. We've already seen this go viral at a few different schools where kids are literally competing to get more points to get free meals at our counter. So it's really done a tremendous job in driving repeat business back to our counters. And in addition to that, we are now diving into the digital ordering so that their meal is ready for them, which they've come to expect. I mean, that's an aspect of millennials. They don't want to wait in line. They don't want to wait 4 or 5 minutes for their basket or their meal. And so, they're so proficient with their iPhones and their tablets, they can order their meal and get there in 10 minutes and it's ready. That's a huge value added for our brand.
Yeah, absolutely. The digital ordering is a really key component. If you do it right and it's visually based, it's essentially like putting a kiosk in everybody's pocket. And, that's the goal to get to. And I think that as mobile apps continue to become the primary method for people to order, you'll start to see store layouts change, POS systems be eliminated, and you walk in and you see a production facility, a prompt to download the app, find a seat, sit down, take out your phone, order it, food comes out to you. You don't need to interact with people. That's another important thing. Millennials don't really like to interact with people. They want to be left alone. If they came in with their group of friends, they don't want somebody coming out and seeing how their food was or anything like that. If there's something wrong with their food, they're going to come up and tell you. It's a different mindset.
Hey, so I'd love to unpack some of those comments that you guys just made. I heard a lot of different elements in there. One of them is gamification. I'm a New Yorker. When I get on the subway to do my commute, I look around and I'm just stunned at how much candy is being crushed all around me. Mobile gaming is by far the dominant sector within mobile overall. So do you find that you kind of find yourself gamifying a lot of the loyalty piece? And for that matter, would you consider putting games directly into your apps? A lottery, for instance, to get folks back.
I think absolutely. Like I had mentioned, I think the point system with our app is phenomenal. It just drives the inner competition with millennials, and you reward them for sharing the app. So they're doing all of the marketing and branding for you, and in their mind, they're winning points, which is going to get them a free meal. So it's almost a win-win for them and for us.
Mm-hmm. I think going forward, eliminating the idea that you earn points based on spending money and more that you earn points based on interacting with the brand, I think that's going to end up being the future, because if not, what you're going to end up creating is a continuous discount to your menu. You end up devaluing your brand, and you might as well put out a coupon for every single menu item. I mean, there's no reason to do it when, in fact, you can earn points through these gamified methods, either by sharing apps or possibly by integrating games directly into the app, and instead of winning fake coins, you actually earn points to come in and get food, and I just think it's the future.
So let's talk food within an app. I've gained about 10 pounds since I started this job because I keep staring at really appetizing, emotional photos that have been primed to get me to go to the restaurants. So food clearly can be rendered in very compelling ways. And digital for us has always been, the right message to the right customer at the right time. So, can we talk a little bit about that aspect, about the customer segmentation that you can do with apps and how food plays in?
So earlier I talked about our expenditure in 7 years on marketing. The primary expenditure there is actually on content generation. I think it's so important to have a really great high-quality photo of every single menu item. And we discussed earlier about millennials really liking customization. Chris mentioned it earlier. They want to customize a menu item, kind of put their stamp on it and say, that's the way I get my balance bowl. And you need to have a photo for everything. And as you go through and you change options, it needs to be reflected. We have a video for every single menu item that dives into the chef's thought process behind it, how it's made, how it's created, lists out all the ingredients. It's almost like a Food Network little 45-second clip. And millennials will sit there and they'll click on every single item and learn more about it. And that's what's beautiful about it, is they'll dive in deep for you. You just have to provide the depth of content to make that happen.
Yeah, that's well said. I mean, visuals for us are arguably the most important part of the customer experience. You'll notice our storefronts and our food trucks, our menu items are just plastered everywhere. We know that they connect, and they want to share it with their friends, whether it's via social media or the app. We put a hashtag in front of our name because we knew that this brand was going to connect with millennials and Gen Zs. So we figured by having that hashtag, when they came to eat at our restaurants, it would naturally push them to share it on social media and send it to their friends, which it does, with us having to put very little money and effort into having them do that. So when we can come up with a new menu item, have that high-def picture, and blast that out, we know that that's going to go somewhat viral among our network and increase those likes and customer traffic to our storefronts.
Hey, just one more aspect of the overall success of apps. Obviously, when you look at a Facebook and a Google, it's all about relevance and personalization. So typically, there'll be a news feed in Facebook, and you'll just keep getting stuff and you get addicted to it, which is why the half of the group who aren't crushing candy on the New York subway are busy on their Facebook feeds. But talk to me a little bit about, restaurant apps and how you see that. Is there an ability to provide a continuing stream of news? Is that something that with new items you're continually kind of bringing them out in the news feed?
Yeah, I think you have to. So if you open up your app, if a millennial opens up your app every single time and it looks the exact same every single time they open it, they're going to open it less and less often. That's just a standard. So in order to provide that dynamic content, providing this news feed with items that are relevant to your brand, so you're basically putting out there what you want on social media and then giving them the ability to then share it from the app. So then they push it out to social media directly from your app, and your content is then being syndicated by your customer base.
Yeah, we do 2 weekly consistent posts. We call it a Taste Bud Tuesday, where we'll just pick one of our basket items and just say something as simple as, what do you think? And love the interaction we get with our customers. And then on Fridays, we do our Friday FRYDAY, fun facts. And it's just a fact about potatoes or French fries. For example, the average American eats 30 pounds of spuds a year. And you just send out tidbits like that, and it just is a natural progression for them to want to talk about that and tag their friend and say, can you believe this? So I think having the ability to push that out through the app only strengthens our position in the digital world.
So last question on apps. We always think about the two sides of the app equation, the first being the engagement for the consumer, the second being the overall sales lift for your business and the profitability and efficiency that also come there. So can you talk a little bit about how you view the return on investment, where you see it, how you judge it, what you're looking for?
I mean, we're pretty new to the app. I mean, we just launched it, but already we've seen an uptick. And again, you're taking people who might come by once every 2 weeks, and now they're coming by once a week, if not twice a week, because they're incentivized to do so through that point system and through the constant contact of the app and the push notifications. So again, we've only launched it 30 days ago, but we've already seen it, and I can't imagine once we blast this out franchise-wide what the impact will be.
That's a really deep question. It has a lot of implications that go back, and it's the primary reason I think a lot of restaurateurs roll out a mobile app. Initially, we were looking for 2 factors. We were looking for an increase in average ticket and an increase in frequency. We ended up getting a lot more out of it. As we've grown, we've hit all new levels of metrics than kind of what we had built our stores for. We recently hit about $1,000 a square foot in revenue, and what that's done is we didn't build the queue, the waiting line long enough. And so frequently we had a lot of customers who'd complain, not about the product, not about the experience or the service, but really about how long it took to put in the order. So giving them this mobile app actually allows us to create additional efficiency within our existing build out without needing to do new construction or modify the layout for a queue. It's kind of dead square footage. I mean, it's used during lunch and dinner, but if we were, as I was saying earlier, able to roll out a kiosk in people's pocket, it actually increases operational efficiency. And another key component that I think is so important is order accuracy. So if you're gonna offer all of this crazy customization to all of your menu items, if your kitchen team doesn't make it right, it kind of nullifies the point of offering all of that customization. And if you increase that to 2 different moving pieces, the person who's taking the order and entering into the point of sale system, and then the person who's actually making the order, you can actually eliminate one whole set of that by having the customer enter the order themselves. And so you're increasing order accuracy, thereby customer satisfaction, thereby return rate, and it just continues to grow and multiply.
PK, you touched on something that for us as part of that app was how you handle a customer who has a poor experience, and that was a major point for us that we enjoyed about the app was they have to, once they use the app and they eat at your restaurant, they have to fill out a review, 5-star, 1 through 5 stars. And what we have noticed, and we hope continues, is that if someone who's not satisfied and rates 3 stars or lower, we are immediately notified, and we're able to then contact the customer, make sure, find out what went wrong, make sure they come back for a, couple of fries on the house. So you've hopefully diverted them from going onto Yelp or going onto their Facebook or going onto Google reviews and bashing you. And for us, that's a huge benefit that we can catch that up front and get them back to our counter for a better experience.
Yeah, you're capturing that negative feedback right away, and if it's 4 or 5 star, you can recommend that they post it back out onto channels. If you did have a negative experience and you need to credit someone, instead of sending them a gift card or a promo card, you can send them points within the response. And I did want to say something else, but I can't remember. Oh yeah, another key component. So sampling. People who haven't tried other menu items, by using really deep and rich data that you can get out of the mobile app, by use data, so you have data based on what they order, and what they order in store because they're scanning their loyalty card, and so you're able to link all of this ticket data together. You can then identify specific customers who have never tried this one snack. So instead of walking through a dining room full of customers at the lunch hour and saying, hey, have you ever tried our citrus Brussels sprouts? I can actually look and identify every single customer who shops at Balance who has never had citrus Brussels sprouts, and then just give it to them in the app.
Dynamite. Hey, we've only got a couple minutes left, and we'd love to get some questions from the audience. Anyone have a question for us? Please, sir.
How much do you guys actually understand yourselves, the younger side? So in other words, is this the kind of stuff that you guys would do, like these badge games and all this other stuff? Is this stuff that you guys practice in your personal life, so therefore you understand your guests? Or how did that come about?
Good question. I mean, I personally was never a gamer, but I think if I was eating at a place that I really liked and I had the opportunity to simply scan my phone to get incentives like free fries, I think I would absolutely not only use it myself, but recommend it to friends who I know are in the gaming world and would just go crazy about it.
Right. But do you guys do this stuff? Like, you're millennials. Do you go and all the favorite places? Do you download apps? Do you play these games at restaurants personally? And then if the answer is no, then how do you potentially understand your guests?
Yeah,
you guys have a lot of great ideas, but I'm saying,
Right.
how do you know that people would like this?
My answer is a little bit skewed because I did come from the world of IT before I got into the restaurant business, and I'm kind of a nerd. So
Okay.
yeah, I have a mobile app for pretty much every single brand I shop with. I use them. It's the primary way I order. I don't usually go into a restaurant unless they have a mobile app, and I order in advance because I'm busy and I take time to. It's enough time that I'm, it's enough of a choice that I'm not going through a drive-through. So I need another option in order to make eating quick and fast. And so if I go to Starbucks, I pay using their app. I mean, I kind of live it. And then I'm surrounded by 150 of them. And
Okay.
so, yeah,
You get
it's my
solicit
it's my
their
world.
feedback on stuff.
I personally don't, but our number one consumers are later year millennials and Gen Zs. So we know the future of our brand is dependent on them becoming loyal customers and growing as we grow. So I think that we might miss out on some of the older generations and even older millennials, but I know that the heart of our business is relying on these Gen Zs and younger millennials who are very apt to use these games, if you will.
Got it. Thank you.
Hey, any other questions? Follow-up or?
Yeah, I have a question. So if I'm understanding correctly, the number one tool all three of you are talking about is obviously having a mobile app. When I think of a mobile app, it's bifurcated between, say, resident mobile apps where it works whether it has connectivity or not, or whether it's an app that just goes out to the web. Can you speak a little bit about the importance of it being a resident app? What kind of features, if it's really the number one tool to drive your business, frequency and check, what beyond having fresh content are kind of the mechanics behind it?
I'll take this one. Like I said, I'm kind of a nerd. So I think your question is the difference between an active web app and a native mobile app. And there's a significant difference there. With the native mobile app, you have all of the UX functionality that comes with Swift or Apple's development kit or Google's development kit. Web apps are based on HTML5, and there is a lot that you can do with web apps, and they are starting to get gesture recognition and things like that. Multi-touch recognition. Those things are, they are the way that people are expecting to use mobile apps. If you see something, you swipe on it and you expect it to swipe. In HTML5, you can't always achieve those types of UX goals. In addition, I think you said the key point, there is no local caching with a web app, with an HTML5 based non-native app. And so if you have no connectivity, you have no app. For those of you who may not be as nerdy as I am, it's essentially, if you have a non-native app, you're downloading a full screen browser window app, and it just goes out to one website, and that website is mobile focused. A lot of brands will try and do that because it's the easiest way to roll out a mobile app. You can just take your online experience, make it mobile responsive, put it in a frame browser window, and have people download it through the App Store, and you think that you're achieving the same thing, but you really are not. You're going to suffer on UX.
What PK said.
So hope you can make that. Hope this was informative, and look forward to talking with you all later in the day.